Everybody say hi, YouTube. Hello. Hi, YouTube. Okay. Um, so this was the last round of DCC for this month. It turns out it amounts to being, kind of the same as one DCC tournament because I had to take buys in both of them. It's complicated. So it's not that many games, so I'm just kind of combining them. It was. Don't make fun of me. I did my best. It was just. I wasn't aware of anything in the position apparently. But. Okay, so we played e4. And you know how I'm just like playing e5 sometimes without knowing any theory and like getting a losing position. Today I was feeling like I didn't want to do that. I was feeling kind of aggressive and like I just wanted to beat my opponent. So I did a Nightorf. I was just talking to Josh about this and how f3 he's the best move here. So I was like, uh-oh, maybe he knows this really well. But apparently he was out of theory in this position, which is quite shocking, especially for a 1940 rated person. That's pretty shocking, especially because of how common the Nightorf is. So I played bishop e7, he played bishop e3, and I played bishop e6. This is all fine. The move here would be queen d2, then he played, h5. It's like a bishop e3 just transposes. Very novel position, yes. Okay, but then he thought for a little while, which is not a good sign, and he played g4. And whenever your opponent plays a move that's not the main move, there's usually a reason for it, why it's not a good move. So I spent some time trying to figure it out, and I didn't figure it out. Now I understand why g4 is very bad here. But I was just trying to come up with a reason, like... It's like, okay, I mean, his king is still in the center and he's weakening dark squares, so in my head, I want to trade the dark squared bishops. I also want to prevent h4 from happening. So I played knight d7, which is fine. It's not a bad move, but here d5 is just very strong. And if g5, you just play d4. And if he takes, I mean that's fine. And he still has all his dark square issued here. Yeah, if he plays like bishop f2 or something, then you're also going to double the pawns. So it's just a very, very good position for black. So, there you go. That's what you're supposed to do. But, I don't know. I just never thought about d5. I think because a lot of the times when they play like rook g1 or g4, you play knight d7, I think that move jumped out to me immediately, and then I just kind of thought about it for a while and decided I liked it without thinking about other moves. But I think what I should have caught myself and realized this wasn't that great. I mean, so Josh said that I'm retreating a piece, and whenever you retreat a piece, you should look at a few other moves first. Because, I mean, why would you retreat? Why would you go backwards when chess is about going forwards? So, right, yeah, d5, I thought that my options were moving the knight or playing h6, and I thought h6 was stupid. So, it's like, knight d7, It feels logical. Now he plays queen d2, and I played bishop h4, because I'm thinking I did find the right reason. I thought I figured it out. So I was very confident here, although he's doing just fine. So, yeah, in this position, I thought about queen b6, and I thought about knight c6, and my d-pawn's obviously a problem. That's kind of the drawback of what I've done. When I don't have the dark squared bishop, it's kind of hard to defend the d-pawn. And I kind of came to the conclusion that I'm not going to be able to hang on to the d-pawn long term. Like, I felt like I needed to get something going and get some play. So I played h5, which I think makes sense still. I don't think it's a bad move. And this move is also stopping h4, which was something I was a little worried about, but I think it's fine if he gets it in. But yeah, I liked h5 because it's making a threat, and it's kind of I'm just trying to damage his pawn structure even more. And you know, I would like to trade all the pieces and just have like a better bishop. That would be cool. But so I play h5, and there's not really any good way to defend the g-pawn. Like, whoops. Like, taking is not something you really want to do. I'm not going to take with the rook. I was going to play knight f6, and then I was going to reroute the knight to f4. So taking is definitely not what he wants to do. And, you know, obviously h3 is bad because they just take. So he can't really defend the pawn, so he just castles, which I think is what he should do. And now he's playing in the center, and I'm playing on the side. My king is in the center, so it's kind of scary. So yeah, I can either defend this pawn for a few moves and lose the pawn like 5 moves, 10 moves down the line, or I can just say like you can have it and do something else with my time. So I decided to take on g4, and obviously, well, I don't know if it's obvious. I felt like if he takes here, yeah, if I just take back, then maybe this is kind of bad for me, because the queen is, I don't know, he has all these open lines to my king, like that's kind of scary. So, but I have queen h4, and I want to trade the queens and then take the pawn, and again, like he can't play h3, because again I have this. So that's what I would do if he takes back. So he didn't do that. He takes on d6, which I thought was fine. And here I think maybe it's better to just take on f3. It makes me a little uncomfortable though. Again, just having all these open files against my king. It didn't look ideal. But maybe it's what I should do. I decided to sack a pawn, and I thought it would be worth it if I could make my pieces more active than his. So I decided to play queen g5 check. King b1 is the only thing that really makes sense, because otherwise, I mean, you're just walking into a pin in some way or another, and if he trades queens, then I'm just doing fantastic here, and I take on f3, so probably. So king b1 is the only thing that makes sense, and then I play g3, which is a pawn sacrifice. He can't take it right now, but long term I can't defend it, so it is a pawn sacrifice. However, I think it makes some sense. He kind of has to play queen g2, because again, you know, he can't take it because his rook hangs. And if he plays like, I don't know, anything else, obviously he can't stop guarding the g2 square because of this. But if he wants to trade queens, that's just fine. I'm very happy here. I don't have to do anything about this right away. I can probably just develop a piece, and I'm doing great here. So that would have been fine. So queen g2 feels like the only thing that makes sense, because it's kind of guaranteeing that I can't hang on to the pawn. A move that looks like it is, you know, would be good is bishop h3, but unfortunately he can just take on g3 now, because I blocked my rook. So just pointing that out in case anyone was wondering. And then here I came up with kind of a I played a pretty bad move here. So the problem is that I don't know, actually. I don't know what my deal was. I think I was still holding on hope. So, holding out. What's the phrase? I don't know. I had hope that I could maybe hang on to the pawn. And I thought a good way to do that would be connecting the rooks with either knight c6 or like king e7 at some point. And I also didn't like... I didn't like this. I mean, maybe it's not great right away. This is actually... No, this is actually important. So... Every move for the next 10 moves, the only move I like really considered him playing was knight d5, which is what he should be doing almost every move, depending on what I do. So what I played king e7 because I thought it was like, you know, having a tempo, pushing him back, and then playing knight c6. But that's a blunder because okay, in this position, if I play knight c6 first, when I take, if he takes with the pawn, then I don't really understand. Why can't I play king e7? Oh, and he takes with check. Okay, so I can't do that. I think maybe that. I don't know. I saw something in the game that I didn't like this. Okay, but the reason that this move order is good, having the rook on d6 on this side of the pawn instead of this side of the pawn, is because here I have knight d4, and if he takes, he can't take back with the rook, and that's pretty much it. Plus, I'm getting out of this now, and king e7 could be a threat at some point. So that is why king e7, this move order is bad. And here I was like, oh, here I couldn't find a move, because I realized that knight c6 was allowing knight d5. And I wanted to play knight f6 to stop that, and, you know, reroute the knight this way. But then he plays knight c5, and I feel like I'm close to losing. Maybe it's fine, but I hate it. And I thought for like 5 or 6 minutes, and ended up playing knight c6 anyway, because I couldn't find a move, and I don't really have one to not be just losing. It's kind of, so there's a concrete point behind this here that I didn't see. So knight d5, it like intuitively I felt like I was losing, but if I just play king f8, oh wait, oh, not here. Well, the point is that there's tactics. Like if I take this way, first of all, this is what I saw. It's just like I can't go here because my knight gets trapped. But the bigger problem is, hold on, where is this line? Okay, sorry, I got confused. Let me start over. Okay, so in this position, I also, wait, what? Sorry, my analysis doesn't make any sense. Oh yeah, so, okay, so here, in this position, if I have to do this, so the point isn't that, hold on, I'm gonna have to edit this part because I sound like an idiot. What the fuck? What the fuck? Alright, it doesn't matter where it happened, I just want to point out the idea. Oh wait, so it's like this. Okay, the point is that d6 is an idea a lot of the time, and the idea is to play f4. That's the whole point, and bring the queen out. So that's like a thing that was happening. I don't know why I thought it was happening in that other position. I'm really confused, to be honest. Chess is very difficult and my brain hurts, but that was another thing I was really afraid of. But yeah, so in this position, he can just, yeah, I think he does have d6 here too. So if he just takes, then maybe it's okay. It's kind of fucked up because I have to play king d6. But I'm not losing. I'll definitely lose this 100% of the time, but I'm not losing. But the point is that he's not gonna take here. He's gonna do this, which I didn't see. And he's this, and he's coming in, or not here. I don't know. Let's just forget about it. The point is that d6 is a good move sometimes, and sometimes, but for different reasons each time. Okay, let's go back, because I'm embarrassing myself. Alright, so what happened in the game was I played knight c6, and I was fully expecting knight d5, and I didn't really know what was happening there. I thought I would have to play king f8. This is the line I thought I would have to do. And, you know, like, this is pretty miserable. Oh wait, I hung my knight. Oh yeah, I have to go to d8. Yeah, this is pretty miserable. But I didn't immediately lose. So I thought I would have to go into this, and I was just like, I had no idea where I went wrong, but it was king e7. I thought knight c6 was my blunder, but yeah, I just didn't have a move here. So king e7 was the blunder. So I played knight c6, and I was fully expecting knight d5. Then he played this very strange bishop e2. It's such a passive move. Like, okay, he's doubling the rook, so he wants to be able to take here, but now I can actually fix this. So here, bishop takes b3 is good. I felt like. Maybe it's not. But because I get my knight on d4, and at least I have some compensation with that. Oh yeah, not here. I have to play knight f6 first to stop that. Okay, but the interesting thing is here is that I did not evaluate this position correctly. I thought I was doing fine. I want people to guess what the evaluation is here. I had Josh guess it. He did not guess accurately, and there's like a concrete reason. Plus 0.3. So it's plus 5 here. If he plays knight d5. And it's the same thing. It's the same tactic if I go here, he has d6. Or even f4 first. And I missed that idea in several positions. But okay, here, yeah, this is where I discovered it when I was looking at it with Josh. Now it's making sense. So it is an idea in all those other positions, but this is where we first discovered it. So it's like, why is it plus 5 here? And it's because of d6 or f4. Both move orders are good, but f4 is better for some reason. Yeah, and I'm just losing. If he doesn't play d6 or f4, then I am doing fine. But it's just tactically it just doesn't work, and I'm just losing. So that's awesome. But yeah, I thought I was doing fine here. And then, I guess he agreed because he didn't put his knight on d5, which is like the move in every position. I don't know why it's not the first move you would consider every time in this game. But he decided to trade queens with me, which I was pretty excited about, actually. So, this is like the third time this has happened recently, where I don't have a very good position, and my opponent counts the pawns and sees that they're up a pawn, and then just trades everything. So it's kind of fun. So of course I take the queen. Why wouldn't I trade queens? That's lovely. Now my knight on d4 is very good, and it's extremely hard to get rid of, because even if he moves the knight, which is hard to do because the knight is glued to the bishop, he can't ever really play c3 without preparing it, because, knight b... I just take the b pawn. So the knight is babysitting the bishop is babysitting the pawn, this rook is babysitting this rook, and this rook is babysitting this file. So all pieces have very important jobs that they absolutely cannot abandon. My pieces are a little more dynamic. Like, they're allowed to move around because I don't have as many weaknesses. Here I think it's just extremely hard for white to find a move here, because f4 isn't working because of knight e2, and I take on e4. And doing great here, and I can... I think I just breathed in a bug. Oh no, there he is. He flew away. Okay. And yeah, I can make a pass pawn at some point, probably. So this looks good for me. So yeah, it's just very hard for white to find a move, and I think it's might be a little surprising for some people, but I think I'm better here. Sure, I'm down a pawn, but I don't really give a fuck. Who gives a fuck? Like, I'm down this pawn, so what? So he has to do a lot of piece reorganizing in order to do anything. So if he plays, like, rook f1, this is a line that I looked at, so knight h5 is always kind of a threat, too. Because if you ever push, then I play knight f4. So it's tough. Hello, Nicholas Tice. So he made a pretty bad decision right away, as soon as the queens are off. Sometimes it's shocking to me, like, how much people, like, don't understand endgames. I'm pretty bad at endgames, but this is pretty bad. So, yeah, pawns... I mean, it's like the same explanation as that other game I played. It's like, I'm up a pawn, but I'm up a pawn, but I'm up a pawn. Well, but listen, I don't really care, because I could get my pieces going, and you can't. And it is really important that he can't move this rook, because then if I get the h-file, I was like, oh, I'm winning, is what I was thinking in my head. And then he traded rooks. So he's just, like, trading pieces because he thinks he's winning because he's up a pawn. But now I have the h-file, and you still have all these problems developing your pieces, or at least getting them out of a bind. So again, I would like to play knight h5, But it's not. Maybe his idea was that knight h5 isn't good anymore because then he pins my knight. But now knight h5 isn't necessary because I just bring my rook in. The only reason I would have to bring my knight in is if I couldn't bring my rook in. So here he played rook f1, he defended this to free up his bishop, so he can free up his knight, so maybe he can play f4. But then I just play rook h2, and if he plays like bishop d3 or something, then I play rook h3 and he can't defend these pawns. So I think I'm just winning there. So he has to play this really disgusting bishop d1. Also, this has an added point of now c3 being possible at some point because he's defending the b pawn. So it does make sense. Maybe that was something he'd have to do at some point anyway. But now I play knight h5 and there's no pin. And again, if ever he plays g4, he's just weakening the dark squares a little bit too much. So he plays knight d5 check, and I thought for a long time, because I couldn't figure out where I wanted to put my king, e6 or d6. King e6 might make more sense, like, if we're arguing that I have to go back, because then I don't have to double my pawns. But I don't want to go backwards, I want to go forwards, and also, I can't really explain it, just king d6 just felt right. Maybe it's because it's on a dark square and he has a light squared bishop. I don't really know. It just felt like the right move. But now he plays c3, and I play knight e2, and I liked knight e2 at the time, because I feel like I'm forcing him to play g4, and then I'm just getting the f4 square. But then he took on e2. I was like, maybe this wasn't good, but I still don't really know. Maybe I think knight e6 is technically better, but then I didn't like that. I was thinking maybe f4 here worked. Because if I just take, then he goes... Well, first this is check, and then he just takes on f7, yeah. Sometimes this is dangerous, but not here. And since he has c3 in, rook h1 isn't so scary, because he's not winning a piece. So it's like, I mean, I can't do this. This loses everything. Any practical hope or chances of winning this game, I feel like go away when I play knight e6. So knight e2, I thought was more forcing. And yeah, at first glance, I thought taking here was bad for him, but I guess it's good. Could you take on g3 when he took your knight with the bishop? No, he just plays rook g1 here, and if I take with the knight, then he's bringing his rook in, I think. It's always an idea. And still down a pawn, but now his knight is just very good on d5, and his rook is active. My whole compensation was based on the fact that my rook is active and his is not. Pretty much. So, yeah, so I just take back, and still, I feel like my practical chances are quite good here. Because he still has to take time to defend this pawn, and his king is kind of cut off from everything. Like, if it's kind of stuck on the back rank here, and if it goes over here, then I take the b pawn, so that can't happen. And otherwise, he has to, like, put his king on the side of the board, which is very slow. And still, the b pawn is hard to defend, so... I thought I had plenty of compensation here. And I guess I do, unless he plays rook d1. Maybe this is why king e6 was better. If my king were on e6, then this wouldn't be a factor, but maybe something else would. I just don't know. I don't know where I should have put my king. So yeah, in hindsight, e6 maybe was a better square. If I can calculate like 10 moves deep, then I would have seen this. But I suck, so I don't. Didn't see that. But yeah, if he doesn't have that, then I am just doing very well, I think. Also, it's not really a threat to take on g3 right now, because he has rook g1. He's taking a g... Well, is he taking a g-pawn? I guess he's not. No, it is a... No, this is a threat. Okay, it is a threat. But he played g4, which, you know, feels pretty weakening. Because they play knight f4. And of course he trades, because he thinks he's winning, because he's up a pawn. But I think trading is a blunder. Like, quite a clear one. He has to play rook d1 here, I guess. I don't know what else he does. He doesn't have a great square for the knight. So, but yeah, he trades. And, yeah, maybe technically this is an equal endgame. But again, rook d1 is what he has to play, so he can play rook d3, and he can at least have an open file. His rook still will be glued to the f-pawn. It's still interesting, because if he plays rook d1, I go like king e6, I think. And maybe I can reroute my king this way, and again, if he brings his king in, then these pawns are weak. So I still feel like I have very good chances here. But that's what he has to do. Ooh, thanks for the 5 gift subs, Latinum Blonde. Yay! Camel Clutcher and Plaster Hippie got one. And other people I don't recognize, because I'm an asshole. But, okay, like, practically, I think this is close to winning. Oh yeah. So that's what he has to do. Otherwise, I'm gonna play, like, rook d3, or rook e3, and then his rook can't ever move, because it's just babysitting the f-pawn. So, okay, again, he makes another bad endgame move. I think he sees that he can't bring his king in this way, so he played king a2, which is an extremely bad move, because he's just moving his king away. And now if he plays rook d1 at some point, like king e6 happens, rook d3, now I can play rook e3, and his king is too far away to catch my pawn, so he doesn't have that idea anymore. So it's important to keep the king on b1. Here, I kind of wanted to either induce c4 so my king can get in this way, or just, play rook e3 and try and bring the king around. And if he checks, then I just go here. And if he tries to keep my king out, then I take. So it feels like I have a clear plan, but if I do that right away, I mean, his king might get kind of active, and he could maybe win a pawn, and then, I don't know, like if my king is so far away over here and my rook, and he makes a pass pawn, like I didn't like how that looked. So here I played like, I thought was a pretty good move. So I play a5 here. And my point is that he can't play b4 now, because it just doubles his pawns, and it's bad. And if he just keeps going with his plan, he doesn't have this square anymore, so that's a little bit annoying. And he has to take an extra move to get his king out. Here, I was thinking maybe b6, but if he also maybe b4 sometimes, and I just want to keep his king away from me. Or I meant b5. I said b4, but I meant b5. b5 right away I don't think is that great because of rook d1. And then he's, we have this idea again. So maybe I play rook d2, preparing this, and if he plays king a4, then that's fine, I just take on b2. And then if he takes and I take here, his king is stuck, and I bring my king in, I very easily win that. So, I mean, I like j5. But here he played rook d2 check, and I go king e6, and this would be suicide because his rook's too far away to help now. So now he makes kind of just an odd decision. He played c4, which is exactly what I wanted, because now I have a much faster route to get to the pawn. And his idea is that if I'm not thinking and I just play rook f2, then he goes rook d3 and I can't make progress. But because I have a brain, I did not play rook f2, I played rook e3. And now he just has to go back to f1, and that rook has to just stay there forever. And now my king has a clear path. So, king e5, king a3, and here I decided to play rook d3. I thought it might be a little bit more accurate to include that, just so there's no checks when I go king d4, and so my king is faster getting to the f-pawn. So he plays king a4, king d4, and he plays b4, which seems like a I don't know what to do kind of move. I just take, and I play king e3, not king e6. And now the threat is king e2, and if the rook moves, then I take the pawn. And the king, the bigger problem is that I'm never gonna take my rook off of this file now, because the king is completely cut off and it can't help. So white is just lost here. He played c5, I played king e2, and white has nothing. There's just nothing to do. He played rook c1, I take, What did he do? Oh yeah, he played king c4, trying to... I don't really know what he's doing at this point. It's just kind of simple moves from here on out. Win easily. So, just stepping out of the way and preparing the square for the pawn. And he does this little maneuver, which I thought was interesting. So he plays rook e1 check, rook e3, and then he goes back to d1, trying to get his rook behind the pawn, but it doesn't matter. I just play f3, rook d4, king e5, rook d4, but now I go here instead of here. And yeah, he has rook f5, but I play king f6, and it's over. At the very least, at some point, I have rook e4 check and rook f4 and get behind the pawn. But I don't even need to do that. I can just play king g2, and his king can't get in. So he takes a pawn, and I push, and he does this, and he resigns. So, I don't know.